track meet video shows 4 people assaulting Karmelo Anthony before he defended himself. We were told Austin just put a finger on Karmelo's shoulder, but Hunter Metcalf admitted he approached and confronted him. Yet witness statements never identified Hunter as an attacker, although he confirmed he was a part of the attack in his interview. That means the witnesses lied on the stand and some community leaders helped cover it up. This is a complete disgrace. Frisco ISD has footage clearly showing Karmelo being jumped by multiple people before the stabbing. So why are they hiding it? The case is over. Release the footage now. Obviously, this guy is lying out of his fucking mind, right? Obviously.
Hello, everybody. I'm an advocate for Karmelo Anthony. My name is T. And when I went to see the video, they ask if you want to see it from either 2 minutes before the stabbing or 11 minutes before. So I chose 11 minutes. From the moment she pressed play, Karmelo Anthony was already sitting up underneath that canopy. And he was sitting there for at least 8 to 9.5 minutes. You see, well, I saw a boy in a black hoodie go over to him first, and then they left out of the tent, and then you see coming across the field was another 6 boys. When they got to the bleachers, one, he went out of frame, and the other one sat at the bottom. But the remaining 4, they went directly to Karmelo Anthony, and like T said before, it was a brief conversation, and then all you see is commotion. And we know from the interviews that Hunter did,
she's just making shit up now, yeah.
We know that Hunter was, in fact, up underneath that tent. The next thing you see, you can see Karmelo, in the midst of them assaulting him, you can see Karmelo trying to back out, but he gets pulled back forward. The next thing you see is Karmelo, he comes shooting out the back, but he's still not standing. And he had to like kind of crab crawl backwards, and he had to like jerk away from them because they still had a hold of his hoodie. He goes up a couple bleachers and he's looking around for which way to go. He runs diagonally down the bleachers and then he falls. At the time of him falling, that's when I noticed another 3 boys coming down the bleachers chasing after him. But once Karmelo got up, he took off. You didn't see him for the rest of the video. At no point in that video do you see Hunter holding his breath.
Sounds like she watched an AI video. Yeah, it does sound like she watched an AI video. I was like, I don't even know, like, she's just making shit up with the Hunter Metcalf thing, because it's like, he never said that he touched Karmelo, man. Like, what is she talking about?
At no point in that video do you see those boys ever going back to the tent and sitting down. That was all a lie. And I also have questions. I don't know how the defense did not play that video. Because when you see that video, it was self-defense. Karmelo was only 5'8", 130-something pounds, and Austin and Hunter Metcalf were 6'1", 220-something pounds. So for people to say that he should have used his hands, people can die from fights, from people using their hands.
But Karmelo had a knife. People die when they are killed.
And that's all I'm going to say for right now.
Literal insanity. And like, they know that they can lie about this shit because, again, the court thing was not televised. Unlucky for us. And Satterfield said, now that the trial is over, the footage should be released to shut all of these liars down. You cannot see any of this in the video. Rep Crockett says the knife used to kill Metcalf was not a deadly weapon.
What?
It was like it seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army.
Like with like with the little scissors and everything and whatever. So it was small. Well, I would argue the size of it alone, you wouldn't even think it's a deadly weapon.
It's average? No, usually it's a little bit more bigger.
Someone could absolutely repurpose this into a dick joke. Oh, but this woman is so fucking dumb.
And that's
forgot he had the bag.
If it was one of the little, like, I don't know. Like, I do think.
Well, that's why he went to his coach and was like, but I don't think I hurt him that bad.
What an idiot. She's size queening the murder weapons? Unfortunately so. Lame duck representative Jasmine Crockett, D. Texas, suggested during an Unhinged podcast episode that she too would have stabbed track star Austin Metcalf after Karmelo Anthony was convicted of first-degree murder in the racially charged case. On Tuesday's episode of Clock It with Crockett, the failed Senate candidate let loose a torrent of falsehoods to paint a picture of the brutal slaying of 17-year-old Metcalf that virtually had no basis in reality. I think the fact that a woman as dumb as this individual is able to even make a campaign for Senate is just like point proven of how little biases exist in our country. Because this is a case of there absolutely should have been bias and she should have been told, no, you can't run. Your Honor, I too would commit first-degree murder. The cavalcade of inaccuracies started with Crockett downplaying the size of the semi-serrated 5-inch pocket knife Anthony was convicted of plunging into Metcalf's chest during a dispute at a track meet. I don't know if I would call it a dispute. Karmelo Anthony was being asked to leave a tent at Memorial High School in Frisco, Texas last April. Wait a minute, it was this, she said, holding her thumb and forefinger about an inch apart to demonstrate the size of the murder weapon. Was it a switch? I don't know what he had, Crockett said, inadvertently telegraphing her flimsy grasp of the facts of the case that has roiled her home state for more than a year. One of her guests claimed the knife was a multi-tool akin to a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, like with the little scissors and everything and whatever, so it was small, Crockett said, furrowing her brow and squinting her eyes in disbelief. Well, I would argue the size of it alone, you wouldn't even think it's a deadly weapon. What a dumb cunt. Pictures of the knife have not been released, but it was described as having one-handed opening and a semi-serrated blade with a sharp point. Anthony's knife penetrated Metcalf's sternum and entered his heart, leaving a gaping 2-inch stab wound and causing the teenager to bleed to death. Crockett continued, flagrantly embellishing every detail of the confrontation that led to the deadly stabbing. If a 300-pound man is beating me, like on top of me and beating me down, I'm not limited to fists, she said, seemingly implying she too would have stabbed the high school athlete. How do you even make this comparison? Like, not only was Austin Metcalf not 300 pounds, he was also not on top of Karmelo Anthony beating him. What the fuck is this bitch even talking about? Yeah, the 300-pound track star. He's got the mobility scooter. Don't worry, it's not an advantage in the race. Metcalf was 6 feet and 200 pounds, a far cry from her claim about the victim's stature. Anthony was also a high school football standout and was listed at 5 feet 11 and 162 pounds. What the fuck? Her choice of words also falsely portrayed Anthony as the victim and Metcalf as the aggressor. In fact, Metcalf was merely attempting to remove an interloper from the track team's tent at the event, according to witness Eddie Para, 18. Para testified that when confronted, Anthony immediately got aggressive, daring Metcalf to, quote-unquote, touch me, and warning that, quote-unquote, you're going to have to move me, while putting his hand inside his bag to indicate he had a weapon. According to witnesses, Metcalf shoved Anthony, who then pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the chest in what Collin County DA Bill Wiersky called a sneak attack. Contrary to Crockett's fact-free assertions, there was no beating. Metcalf was never on top of Anthony, and Metcalf weighed nowhere near the formidable 300 pounds the Congresswoman alleged. Ex-users flooded posts sharing clips of Crockett's podcast, with comments pointing out her misstatements of even the simplest facts in the case. Why does it matter what he used to kill him? A rope isn't a deadly weapon until it's used to strangle someone. Like, how stupid can you be? One ex-user asked incredulously. That's actually also a really good point. Even if it had been the Swiss Army knife that Crockett is lying about, it still killed him, right? Like, what even is the argument here? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Pretty sure Metcalf is dead, so it sounds like a deadly weapon to me, another poster chimed in. So she has twisted this story into something that did not happen. She's an absolute imbecile. She should have at least Googled what happened before she opened her dumb mouth. True and fucking real. But she's doing this on purpose. It's not that she's a retard. It's that she is malicious and she wants to lie to people to get them riled up. Crockett, an attorney, wow, who gave her fucking license to practice, has previously made gaffes indicating a twisted understanding of the criminal justice system, including the infamously ponderous statement, just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal, on Jonathan Van Ness Getting Better podcast, for which she was widely ridiculed, and rightfully so. A Collin County jury composed of white, Asian, and Hispanic members deliberated for about 3 hours Tuesday before finding Anthony, now 19, guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison for the killing, and Crockett did not respond to a request for comment from the Post. 35's too short. I'm glad that something was handed down in general, but yeah, 35 too short. Jasmine Crockett tells Jacob Wass that there was one major factor in the Karmelo Anthony verdict.
You might have seen that Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. I want to get your reaction to the trial.
She has fucking crazy eyes. Like, her eyes look so crazy here. They look like they're painted on her face. Like, they're not real.
On the verdict.
My heart breaks. For so many reasons. And so I was just speaking to a student that is shadowing me who wants to be a public defender.
I think it might be that her false eyelashes are falling off, and that might be why it looks weird. It looks like her false eyelashes are kind of lifted up on this side, and they're like coming off entirely.
And so it takes me back to what actually made me decide to get into this legislative work in the first place, because I know that our systems are broken. And what we saw with that verdict is the evidence of a broken system. Now listen.
A guy who committed a murder getting rightfully convicted for said murder is an indictment of our system not working. I hate these people who just do not care about justice and want everything to be like nice and happy, shiny for criminals. They just enjoy seeing other people suffering.
From everything that I understand, which I wasn't at the trial because obviously I got a day job, but it's my understanding that Karmelo ended up stabbing, puncturing, I don't know what this tool was that they talk about.
A knife?
Or some referred to it as a tool.
What the fuck? Some referred to it as it's a fucking knife. What are we doing?
He ended up hitting Austin one time, and it was about where he hit him. One time, 2 inches. This wasn't someone who said, hey, let me stab you 5, 6, 7 times. And so when you're looking at the punishment...
Is this another iteration of the rape didn't last long enough, so we're not charging him with rape? He was only stabbed once, and it only took 1 stab to die. Therefore, Your Honor, my client didn't murder him. He was just weak as fuck, boy. Like, what are we doing here? Good afternoon. As a black guy, you're fucking disgusted by the black community. We have to truly call out these black supremacists. They're evil. I don't understand how anyone can look at what happened and try and defend Karmelo Anthony. It's insane to me. It's insane.
Range. There's a reason in Texas that it goes from 5 to 99 or life, because you are looking at how intentional, like how bad was this? 35 years for a kid?
Not enough.
Who had decided to go under a tent that was not his team's tent as it was raining, and simply didn't want to be put out in the rain by some random kid that he didn't know, who was larger than him. Listen, a lot of people don't know what it is to live as a black person in this country, but just like you can give the benefit of the doubt to so many police officers when they go out and they shoot some black unarmed person, even though they are trained, the fact that there was little to no mercy seen.
You're trained, therefore when I attack you, you should let me kill you, otherwise you're racist. What the fuck is she even talking about, bro? Not getting wet is reason enough to stab someone. This is your brain on DEI.
Or humanity seen when this black boy said that I was scared. Or the fact
didn't
that
say
honestly
that.
Anybody else who did something with such a small object, all I know is that it wasn't considered unlawful carrying of a weapon because the blade was not long enough. That they would.
He was carrying a weapon in an area where weapons are not allowed to be carried. I don't think no-go zones for that kind of shit should exist because it puts people in danger. But, like, that's just my opinion, man. This creature's literally arguing that black people should be allowed to murder white people. That's what she's saying. Cannot live like this. I don't know what can be done, man. Jordan, thank you. You had a 2-hour debate about this case. He kept repeating the other side of things. It was something else. We're both black. It's just eternally disappointing. Because like, you bring up a good question. How do you live with people who readily admit like this they think it should be okay to just kill you? You can't have someone like this serve on a jury for you. They're not going to be impartial. You can't have someone like this teaching your children. You can't have someone like this being your boss. So, like, what are you supposed to do?
Even say, well, maybe this was more so something that looked like manslaughter.
Well, some people might say, why are you even bringing a knife like that to a track meet?
Yeah, people may say that. But walk a day in my shoes and then respond. Because we as black folks say, why is it that people need long-armed guns when we are going out and having a First Amendment protest? But people say that's their right. They are allowed to do that. And again, it wasn't a...
So you're saying it's their right to take guns to a protest, and it's your right to bring a knife into an area where they say no knives allowed. But I bet you would also be one of the first to say that we need more gun-free zones, eh?
Against the law for him to have it. It may have been prohibited by school rules, which he wasn't at his school at the time. But it definitely...
It doesn't matter. That makes it even worse if he's not at his school and the school he's going to has a no knives rule and he brings one. What are we talking about?
Definitely was not against the law.
So you think race played a role in the verdict?
Oh my God. I know Collin County. So absolutely. Collin County is right north of Dallas County. And I can tell you that I have had cases that I felt like played out differently because of the counties that they were in. And unfortunately, that was not the county for a black boy.
So if this were a white boy in his exact same position, you don't think he'd get a 35-year sentence?
I would guarantee you it wouldn't have happened. I don't even know.
Literally living in a different reality. Holy fuck, dude.
If he would have been convicted. Because if a white boy would have said that they were afraid of a black boy, something tells me that that jury that didn't have any black people on it, they would have believed him in his fear.
Well, there's so many different opinions on this case. I mean, even your Republican colleague, Randy Fine, I mean, he's saying that he should get the death penalty.
He should.
Your take on that?
Murderers should get the death penalty. Death penalty is not a based on race thing. It is a based on did you kill someone? If yes, do not go to jail. Go to the death penalty, bro. This is Angela Stanton King, which I guess is one of the descendants of MLK. It's obvious the ghetto has made it to Congress, so let's get on some ghetto shit. Hey, Jasmine, this is adding Jasmine Crockett. I heard you were looking for the bastard of the King family. You got the wrong king. That isn't Dr. Alveda King, it's me. I'm the one. And unlike what you intended, I wear that title proudly. I didn't choose this life, but I am grateful for it and the family, the legacy, and the movement I've been blessed to be connected to. The King family helped change America. Their legacy is bigger than politics, bigger than parties, and certainly bigger than the playground insults masquerading as congressional debate. So if you're looking for the bastard of the King family, stop looking, you found her. And while you're throwing around labels, I'll be over here carrying the King name with gratitude, defending the family, and honoring the sacrifices that came before me. Proud bastard, Angela Stanton King. So I have absolutely no idea what Jasmine Crockett might have said to piss off a descendant of MLK, but damn, she is spitting fire. The sickening Karmelo Anthony attack photo that made jurors gasp in horror, a hideous detail about his knife, and every shocking moment of the murder trial that guaranteed his 35-year sentence. Not long enough. It was a case that divided Texas and beyond, poured over by pundits for months and leaving many asking what justice looked like for a crime that quickly became a racial flashpoint. On Tuesday, it took a Collin County jury in Dallas suburbs just under 3 hours to convict 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony of murdering Austin Metcalf, 17, at a high school track meet last year. Anthony, who was also 17 at the time, stabbed Metcalf after a confrontation in a school tent that much was never disputed. Anthony admitted to police he killed Metcalf minutes afterwards. The case ultimately hinged on whether Anthony was acting in self-defense, a theory the jury rejected resolutely, along with 2 lesser charges of manslaughter and sudden passion. The same 12-member panel, comprised of white, Asian, Hispanic, and Indian jurors, but crucially no black jurors, something Anthony's defenders say was an injustice, also sentenced him to 35 years in prison. Despite all the outside attention on the case, jurors could only make their decision on evidence presented in court. From the Daily Mail's vantage in the courthouse, jurors had the biggest reaction to several highly visual pieces of evidence, including a photo of Metcalf's punctured heart printed out and blown up to poster size. The medical examiner testified that the knife penetrated deep enough to pierce bone and the heart itself. That is pretty fucking insane, especially when some people were trying to lie and be like, he just fell on the knife. Sometimes track stars just do that. The prosecutor held the image and walked up to the jury to show it directly so no one else in the courtroom could see. One juror, an Asian woman, gasped and covered her mouth in shock. During opening statements, defense attorney Mike Howard claimed Anthony had been ganged up on and feared for his life. However, surveillance video of the April 2nd, 2025 stabbing shown in court and reviewed by the Daily Mail prior to trial became central to the jury's rejection of that claim. The footage, while poor in quality and recorded from across the football field, shows students sitting under the Memorial High School team tent during a rain delay. There's no fight or large-scale brawl, there's no students surrounding or ganging up on anyone. Instead, it shows a one-on-one confrontation between two people. Texas self-defense law generally requires a reasonable fear of serious bodily injury or death, a threshold the state argued the video did not support. Nearly a dozen students from several high schools gave testimony that students from other schools were not allowed under other teams' tents. Can I just say that he has, like, if you just look at his eyes, right? He has the very stereotypical, like, serial killer eyes, where it's just completely fucking blank, like, no emotion. Yeah, the dead eyes, man, it's scary. All agreed that Anthony, a student at Centennial, was asked to leave the Memorial High School tent more than 10 times. It wasn't just Austin, a teenager testified. People, including myself, were saying for him to leave. However, Austin took the lead in asking Anthony to leave the team tent after his coach had asked him to take on a leadership role during the track meet. Supporters react to the verdict.
They say guilty of murder on Fox right now. They say guilty of...
I like how that says self-defense is not a crime. It wasn't fucking self-defense, you retard. Why are you bringing a baby to something like this? What's wrong with you?
Ground law. Penal
Oh, these are the black supremacists?
9.31, 9.32. He had no reason to retreat. You don't have to retreat. Understand your ground. He had a right to be there. He was not the aggressor. This whole thing been racist. It was supposed to be a...
I said the same thing when we watched it live. Really? I don't remember that. That's funny. I am the most consistent streamer, both on purpose and accidentally. All the witnesses agreed Metcalf was unarmed, and none described anything approaching a deadly threat to Anthony. None of them knew Anthony was armed even when he put his hands in his book bag and said, "Touch me and find out." Several of the kids called his bluff, according to the testimonies, with Metcalf apparently saying, "We're in Frisco, you don't have anything." Frisco, known for its low crime rate, good schools, and high incomes, is one of the most desirable communities for families in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. Anthony is not from Frisco. Defense attorney Mike Howard told jurors the Louisiana native had relocated from Baton Rouge with his family during his freshman year of high school, seeking a better life in the Lone Star State. As the verbal back and forth escalated, Metcalf stood up from the bleachers and walked over to Anthony, who was still seated. As Metcalf moved in to push him, Anthony pulled a knife from his backpack and plunged it into Metcalf's chest, striking his heart. In another pivotal moment of the trial, jurors were shown police body-worn camera footage capturing Anthony's confession to the arresting officer moments after the stabbing. And this is the knife. Prosecutors tell Daily Mail that Karmelo Anthony used an Ozark Trail folding knife sold at Walmart for $13.36 in the killing of Austin Metcalf. So anybody claiming that this is like some sort of Swiss Army knife or multi-tool can go get fucked. Frisco police officer Eduardo Cortez, who detained Anthony at David Kuykendall Stadium, told the court he was not questioning him and was acting solely to detain the suspect. He radioed other officers stating, "I got the alleged suspect in handcuffs detained." According to the footage, Anthony then said, "I'm not alleged, I did it. He put his hands on me, I told him not to," Anthony added while sobbing. Other footage showed the aftermath of the stabbing. In one clip, the officer who recovered the weapon is seen sprinting across the field toward the bleachers where a wounded Metcalf is receiving first aid. As the officer nears the scene, Metcalf's twin brother Hunter is hysterical and being restrained by a coach. Hunter can be heard screaming, "Oh my God, he's my best friend, he's my brother." The officer reaches the bleachers where Metcalf is lying at the bottom, his shirt pulled up as coaches and medical staff attempt CPR. His 6'1", 213-pound frame lies motionless as responders tried to save his life. The officer continues up the steps until he finds the knife Anthony had pulled from his backpack, an Ozark Trail folding knife with a black blade and grayed handle. The weapon, sold at Walmart for $13, should not have been at the stadium, as Frisco School District policy prohibits weapons on school property or at events. Investigators said they could see bone and blood still on the blade when police arrived, although some had been washed away by the rain. Jurors had also seen photographs of the bloody knife and the weapon itself sealed in an evidence bag. All in, the prosecution called upon testimony from 21 prosecution witnesses over 3 days. Anthony's legal team, led by lawyers Mike Howard and Toby Shooks, called 6 witnesses. One was Anthony's former track coach, one who said that students from multiple schools often ended up in each other's tents. He was the only person to say this, and it is widely known in the track world that the tents are like locker rooms. Only members of the team are allowed to be inside. Why has it come out that so many of these, like, witnesses for the defense are just, like, lying about shit? Another was a police officer who interviewed witnesses but offered no evidence supporting self-defense. 4 student witnesses also testified, but one may have done more harm than good. One student walked back a previous statement to Frisco police that Anthony had been surrounded, clarifying he saw students sitting around Anthony rather than ganging up on him. I don't want to phrase it as surrounding, the student said in court. There had been speculation in the final days of the trial that Anthony might take the stand, but he never did. For many, no amount of evidence will change baseless opinions. Many on social media have falsely claimed that Anthony skipped school and was not supposed to be at the track meet. He was, in fact, scheduled to take part in several events and even rode the bus to school. Meanwhile, others have stated that Metcalf and Anthony knew each other before the stabbing, while there is no evidence of that. The boys crossed paths in the track meet for the first time in a day that would change both of their lives forever. I've never seen anyone claim that Karmelo Anthony was the one who's skipping school and was supposed to be, or not supposed to be at the track meet. That was people claiming that Metcalf was a delinquent and he wasn't supposed to be at the track meet, and that his coach removed him from the team, so he wasn't supposed to be there. The coach even pushed back on that narrative, saying, I asked him to be a leader for that day. It's true that I was angry at him for something before, but I wanted him to show initiative and responsibility. What are we, like, what, how do I know that more than the person who wrote this article? Thank you, Sarah Fields, for giving us the correct information. Somebody made this edit of the lady that we watched at the Karmelo Anthony trial day.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
I love fucking Diva Patrick Star. It is one of my favorite memes. Oh no, what is this edit? I fucking love Diva Patrick, man.
Karmelo ended up stabbing, puncturing. I don't know what this tool was.
It's the fish guy!
Some refer to it as a tool. Karmelo.
How did they get the fish guy onto her face? Good fucking God. Let's see what this guy's saying. Hello, guy.
I didn't even want to be right-wing. I just didn't want 90 IQ minorities telling me what I'm allowed to say for the rest of my life. Which I heard simple black theory letting people know what's problematic. What's problematic for him is multiplication. 70% of the
I will say it's not just, it's also 90 IQ white people billing themselves as allies who want to oppress you as well.
People call racist is just like preferring your group, which who cares, saying true things, which literally who cares, or like having an issue with the collective behavior of another group. Oh, you're not allowed to do that. What? Hey, guy whose identity we blame for literally everything all the way down to the bottom of reality. It's all a system of white supremacy, which is why you need to give us continuous power so that we can dismantle it and then police your decisions and actions and behavior and language all the way through, or else you're a bad person. Don't you dare ask us to stop shooting each other and having kids out of wedlock. Yeah, it sounds like a raw deal, to be super honest.
He's got a
blame
point.
White people for the state of reality and then call you racist for like holding them accountable for their actions as a group,
like
because
stabbing a white kid to death.
That is basically when anytime I don't get what I want and I don't get power, and it includes both the rape of the Congo and when a 13-year-old says green FN on a Fortnite lobby. And so of course people are like, yeah, no, I'm just not gonna do that. And so they're like, all right, I'm racist, whatever. But now they're not making the proper distinctions, which is a shame, because like actual hatred of other groups of people for like nothing that's in their control is dumb.
True.
Or like wanting injustice or thinking people are fundamentally less valuable and not made in the image of God. That's actually morally evil.
True.
But like being a nationalist isn't. Wanting like to preserve your culture and community, your common way of life through which you flourish, is not evil. Not wanting to be invaded by randos is not evil. Pointing out statistics is not evil. Critiquing culture or ideology or like the behaviors of other groups is not, it's not evil to do that. And like making jokes and being mean, like especially when people are comfortable doing it to you, is not evil. Nor
True.
is like rejecting the idea that your life
make edgy jokes non-political again. What are we doing?
be dictated by like a collective sense of guilt in having your opinions dictated to you by the arbitrary fashionable feelings of armies of brownoids and girls. My good, no.
What the fuck? You fucking love data and mathematics. Is that the guy's name? It says Womp Tomp down here. That was a fucking wild rant. Holy shit. What's this other one? This dude is seriously on it.
The black community largely thinks it's okay to murder white kids and not be held accountable. Why shouldn't I want you oppressed? Why shouldn't I want you discriminated against? Why should you be offered equal employment or equal housing opportunities? Why?
This is a worrying thing to say, but like he has a point. If somebody looks at you and says, "I should be able to kill you and people who look like you simply for the color of your skin and get away with it and have no consequences," what are you supposed to do?
Should I care about redlining and historical atrocities and systemic injustice for a group of people who think it's okay to kill our kids and then not be held accountable for it, right? If you think that our lives are fundamentally less valuable and you're going to choose your own...
Which is what they're saying. The people supporting Karmelo Anthony and saying that he should get off from committing a murder, they're ultimately saying exactly what this guy said here, that your life is worth less because you are white. You should let black people kill you, and they should not have consequences for it. That is what Karmelo Anthony supporters are de facto saying.
Over justice, why should I care about justice for you? Either we all care about the common good or we don't,
Yes.
But I don't care about your victimhood if you admittedly do not care about right and wrong to begin with. You can't be talking about equality and microaggressions and racism and structural reform while also being a bloodthirsty tribal moron. You can't do those two things at once. Viscerally hating white people and wishing them harm and constantly justifying doing harm to them while also asking them to like help you and give you power and like treat you nicer. Yeah, I think that whole thing is just completely over. I don't really think anybody gives a fuck anymore.
Yeah, I really hope that is the dawn that we are entering in. You can't cry about being a perpetual victim while also saying, well, we should just be able to kill you without a consequence. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And hopefully people stop falling for it. We had Shoe posting this compilation saying what's wild is this wasn't even like a cop kills black guy thing where there might be some debate about the police or whatever. It's just straight up a black kid stabbed a white kid and they're losing their minds that he's going to prison over murder. Back to Karmelo Anthony. And we had this Ken Flulen guy who's apparently some sort of like council person or something. I don't know. It's in another tab. Fuck it. Dig Austin Metcalf up and stab his ass again. And this has 4.9k likes, apparently. We have Domo Julio saying, stop sending your kids to these white schools. Booker Washington saying, black people, please carry more than a pocket knife. Get their asses before they can get you. I do not understand. How do you live this far out of reality? Like, right, like, when it's politicians and other, like, public speaking figures, I know they're maliciously lying, they're not retarded. But, like, all of these just random Twitter people, how fucking retarded are you? A Don Mulio person said 35 years on your first offense is over sentencing. Yeah, there has to be a retrial. This is blatant injustice, Your Honor. It was just my client's first murder. You're not allowed to sentence him to more than 10 years until his third murder. Like, what the actual fuck? First offense for murder. Yeah, it's insane. These people do not live in reality. And this is a former Dallas City Council candidate, Devontae Peters. That's who it was. It was a former City Council candidate. Devontae Peters calls to dig up Austin Metcalf's grave, stab him again, and free Karmelo Anthony. And this shows Devontae Peters, a BLM grassroots, Karmelo Anthony found guilty of murder, hashtag free Karmelo. Just left the courthouse and any white person can get it for real. I don't give a fuck. Fuck it, dig Austin Metcalf up and stab his ass again. They do live in reality. They've been doing this for years unpunished. This is literally the first time we're seeing consequences for their actions. Of course they're acting like this. It's just insane to me. You should expect to get punished if you murder someone. What are we fucking doing? Actionable threats advocating for the desecration of a corpse? Wild that this was someone who ran for city council. That's insane. Thankfully, he clearly did not get enough votes to actually get the seat. Sarah Fields, going back to Karmelo Anthony, saying that Karmelo Anthony's fundraiser has been removed. And it says unavailable, the campaign is unpublished. Give, Send, Go fundraiser unavailable, no longer there. Should have been shut down ages ago, but Give, Send, Go also put out a statement about it. A jury has found Karmelo Anthony guilty in the death of Austin Metcalf. Our hearts are with Austin's family, his twin brother, and everyone grieving a loss that no verdict can undo. Give, Send, Go hosted a fundraiser connected to the case. Hosting a fundraiser has never been an endorsement of a person, their actions, their legal arguments, or their public statements. It is not a declaration of innocence, and it is not a political statement. It is an access to lawful fundraising, which we extend across the full spectrum of cases. This fundraiser was created to support pre-trial needs, and those funds were dispersed over the past year for lawful purposes, including legal defense and family relocation. With that stated purpose now complete, the fundraiser has been closed. Our policy is that a fundraiser's stated purpose stays accurate, so givers always know what they are supporting. Our prayer is for Austin Metcalf's family and for those affected, and for justice, mercy, and peace in our community. And then they put a Bible quote from Micah 6:8. And it's interesting that they say that the funds were dispersed for their lawful purpose, but there's also an article that we'll get to where Karmelo Anthony claims that he is penniless. Karmelo Anthony claims he's penniless and can't afford a lawyer for appeal despite pocketing $625,000 after a murder conviction. He looks so fucking goofy in his mugshot, dude. Convicted killer Karmelo Anthony has claimed he's penniless and can't afford a lawyer for his appeal despite his family collecting $625,000 in crowdfunding for his legal defense and living expenses, according to a report. Anthony, 19, made the assertion in a notice of appeal filed after he was found guilty of fatally stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf and sentenced to 35 years behind bars. Anthony, who was moved to a Texas state prison Wednesday, is penniless, destitute, and indignant person, too poor to employ counsel to represent me on the appeal. Reads the appeal form. What happened to all that money, buddy? Anthony's defense attorney, Mike Howard, said the defense has several important issues for the appellate courts to consider. An appeal is the next part of the legal process and a right afforded every American. The Give, Send, Go was set up for Anthony by his mom, was closed down Wednesday, but a new account could be opened. It's unclear how a judge would factor in the $625,000 his family collected when determining if he should be considered indignant and eligible for a taxpayer-funded lawyer for his appeal. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't think taxpayers should have to fund a lawyer for his appeal, especially after that Give, Send, Go. That's fucking crazy. The fundraising page said the donations wouldn't only cover legal fees, but would help Anthony's family relocate to escape threats they've received and to cover basic needs, counseling, and security measures. Anthony was convicted of killing Metcalf on April 2nd, 2025, during a high school track and field meet in Frisco, Texas. The pair got into a disagreement after Metcalf, a student at Frisco Memorial High School, asked Anthony, a student at Frisco Centennial High School, to leave his team's tent. Jurors heard at trial. I really hate how they keep framing this as like a disagreement. It's please leave the tent 15 times, and then he pushes the guy slightly and then gets stabbed to death. Things escalate with Metcalf shoving Anthony, who responded by taking a folding knife out of his backpack and stabbed Metcalf once in the chest, according to trial testimony. Anthony claimed the knifing was self-defense, and we know that is a complete fucking lie. Karmelo Anthony update. Karmelo Anthony has officially filed a notice of appeal following his conviction in the murder of Austin Metcalf. The filing, submitted in the 296th District Court of Collin County, notifies that the court that Anthony intends to appeal his conviction to the 5th Court of Appeals in Dallas. The document also includes a pauper's oath in which Anthony swears under oath that he is indignant and unable to afford counsel or the cost associated with that appeal. What happened to the $600 and something thousand that were raised for this? Where'd that go? Can we get some answers, man?
No.
As a result, he has requested that the court appoint an attorney to represent him during the appeals process and provide the trial transcripts and records necessary for appellate review. To be clear, this filing does not overturn the verdict, grant a new trial, or change Anthony's sentence. It is the formal first step in the appellate process and preserves his right to challenge the conviction before a higher court. Appeals are common in serious felony cases, particularly those involving lengthy prison sentences. The appellate court will review the trial record and determine whether any legal errors occurred that would justify overturning the conviction or ordering a new trial. For now, the jury's guilty verdict remains in place, and Anthony remains convicted of Austin Metcalf's murder. Sarah Fields will continue to monitor the case and provide updates as new filings become available. And then she just has a screenshot of the notice to appeal and the pauper oath. Resentence him as an adult? I would love to see that. Wastelander, thank you. With what money his parents blew it all, I definitely would like to see some receipts before I overtly say, like, yeah, they just wasted all that money, but it does look like that's what happened. And even Metokur chimed in with what was going on with Karmelo Anthony. He said, yesterday, Karmelo Anthony was found guilty of murder. Outside the courthouse, his supporters danced in the faces of those who showed up to support his victim, gave speeches about how racism was at fault, not Karmelo. Online, they posted about digging up Metcalf's corpse to desecrate it, talked about how whites needed to be assaulted in retaliation for the verdict. Court TV hosts mocked a man who showed up to support justice for Metcalf, called him problematic, said his American flag shirt was disgusting, and said he should leave. Court TV had no opinion on mocking the victim or dancing, though. The black community fundraised hundreds of thousands of dollars for a guy that stabbed a kid to death. His parents used it to buy cars. His lawyers mocked the victim's father. Karmelo only cried when the sentence was handed down, but not at the memory of what he did. I've seen like a lot of people saying that his parents used it to buy cars and a new house. If I recall correctly, it was still really blurry if they had done that with the GoFundMe money or not. I don't know if we ever had any, like, resounding proof that that is what they used the GoFundMe money on. I personally just have that, like, autistic need to have the actual truth of the matter, you know? The majority of what I just recounted is fucked up, but over the course of decades, you've been propagandized to think it isn't. That's true. There are crazy people who would actually be like, well, this is just normal, you know? It's like when I get my car broken into, I get gifts. Like, what the fuck? Minorities can't be racist. Whites are evil by default. Thinking or saying otherwise is bigoted. It's fucked up. It's okay, you can say it now. Acknowledging reality isn't wrong. What's wrong was stabbing a kid to death, making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of it, having supporters dance about, and having the press and pundits excuse away all of that. And you could literally recount this exact same thing for the disabled man who was almost beheaded in Ireland. It's the same exact reasoning, the same exact logic at play. They didn't buy any house, they used the money to move to a gated community, indicating security is the reason, so they're still renting. Oh, fuck, dude. That's even worse, man. It's not even a mortgage! This is Libs of TikTok posting a video. A black guy punches a random white man in the face because he thinks he was on Karmelo Anthony's jury selection. He also threatens his life, saying, "You gonna die? How is this not a hate crime?"
Hey, wasn't you on jury selection?
No, he wasn't. Man. No, he wasn't. Seriously. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
He was on jury selection.
He's a vet, dude. He's a vet. He's a vet. He ain't been on jury selection.
I ain't worried about that.
The fuck you.
You gonna die.
Quit, dude.
You on jury? Wasn't you on jury?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
You on jury selection?
He wasn't.
You was on jury selection?
No, he wasn't.
Oh.
No, he wasn't.
See, the people who keep repeating "no, he wasn't" fundamentally misunderstand what's happening here. It doesn't matter if he was or was not on jury selection. What matters is that he's white. He's wearing the uniform of what this guy thinks the jury was entirely made of. It was not entirely made up of white people, but once again, that is a fact and thus doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that your husband, I'm guessing is what that is white. And this guy thinks the jury was entirely white. Therefore, due to you wearing the skin of a white person, you are now part of the problem. You are now okay to attack because in their minds, an all-white jury convicted a black man for literally doing nothing, which is not the case.
Not for Anthony, not for Karmelo Anthony. Oh. All right, my beat. I thought you was on jurisdiction for car.
Shit, now apologize to him, dude.
My beat.
He really fucked you up.
Man, what? The fuck?
Operating from false premise. Yep. He pretends to play the fool to get away with it. Many such cases. I would be very surprised if we ever get an update of this guy getting arrested. You know, I just don't think it would happen.
I really want you guys to understand that time is running out. And a lot of black people say that, but for real. Part of why the civil rights movement has been so successful, and part of why those who have come after in terms of our leadership have been able to maintain a presence, is that black people have always had a certain amount of moral currency that we have been using. And let me be the first to tell you, that's used up. White America has been watching us act like fools for a long enough time where any sympathy they may have had to our plight is completely gone. You're approaching a country that, forget hating black people or not hating black people, they just don't care. You can be talking about affirmative action, they can be like, I don't care. It literally is of no importance to me. I don't care about slavery, I don't care about segregation, I don't care about you, I don't care how many of you all go to jail, I don't care at all, because I'm broke. You can't be the proud, noble fighter when every single time someone sees a person that looks like you on television, they're acting like a damn fool. How would they know? How would they know you're not a damn fool? They're gonna talk to you? Yeah, right.
That's a wild thing to say. 2003. I'm surprised I've never seen this before. That is kind of crazy. 23 years ago, not so much. He was way ahead of the curve. Bro saw what was coming and was like, please stop. Hit the fucking brakes, dude. This is not justice. This is trying to make an example. Cardi B coming under fire for her reaction to Karmelo Anthony's guilty verdict in the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf. The rapper is blasting the verdict, arguing it was less than justice and more about making an example out of the defendant. Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison for the murder of Metcalf after fatally stabbing him at a high school track meet in April 2025. And Cardi B had said, wow, just freaking wow, disgusting. This is not justice. This is trying to make an example. You have here two, I guess I will use the word famous very lightly here, but you have two famous people. One mocking the guy who almost got beheaded in Belfast, and another one saying that it is not justice that a murderer got convicted for murder. These are people who do not care about reality. Let's listen to the bitch that drugged and robbed men without ever facing consequences talk about justice. I love Nicki Minaj. She is the queen. We had NewsWeek here being absolutely fucking retarded, saying, perspective, Rittenhouse walked, Anthony got 35 years. The cases differ, but America judges fear by tribe, not law. No, this was judged by law. You just have absolutely no idea, or you just don't care how self-defense actually fucking works. Rittenhouse is in no way, shape, or form comparable to Karmelo Anthony. Rittenhouse was being chased by a mob who was probably going to kill him. He even had the self-awareness to put his firearm down when one of the people chasing him while he was on the ground put their firearm down and backed up. When they put their gun back up is when he shot him in the fucking arm. There are so many more people who would not have had that awareness to be able to make that decision in that point in time. It's like there's zero way to compare either of these fucking cases. You're insane. You're lying. You're a propagandist and you get what you fucking deserve. Now, obviously, they got community noted. Rittenhouse on video defends himself from a group of people rushing him, making it self-defense, and was found not guilty. Anthony, by testimony of his peers, essentially stabbed Austin for being asked to leave. Tribalism would be rewarding out-group murder, which is what this is. We do not reward black people when they murder white people. That would be insane. Dr. Stacey Patton, a professor at Howard University, wrote an article in which she blamed Austin Metcalf and his family for Karmelo Anthony's decision to murder him, titled, "Dear Jeff Metcalf, your son is dead because you failed to teach him that black boys have boundaries." The article argues that Jeff Metcalf failed to teach Austin that black children have boundaries. In other words, Jeff should have taught Austin that black people will try to kill you if you ask them to stop violating social norms. While Patton falls short of outright defending Karmelo's decision, the entire purpose of the piece is to rationalize his behavior. Kind of like, sure, Karmelo shouldn't have stabbed him, but it was Austin's fault at the end of the day. She writes, "We have to talk about Austin's decision to approach and confront as if Austin didn't have the right to tell someone from another school to leave his school's tent. As if somehow that minor confrontation justifies stabbing him in the heart. It is complete insanity." Patton ties Austin's behavior to a long cultural tradition of policing black bodies and space. Right. Patton's Substack has nearly 50K followers. He has 300,000 followers on Facebook. She's an accomplished professor and journalist. The article received thousands of likes. We've all seen the low-class black people causing a scene outside the courthouse. But it appears that even many educated black people believe that people of their race have the right to murder anyone who asks them to stop playing music in public, respect physical boundaries, and so on. And I'm glad he mentioned who asked them to stop playing music in public, because once again, a black man was murdered on a bus in New York for asking someone to turn down their volume. "Let us do what we want or we'll kill you" appears to be the message being broadcast by a sizable share of the black community. You don't have to be a far-right radical to recognize the many unsettling implications that this holds for the future of American race relations. And it's also very interesting, right, that they write these articles that excuses any kind of action against someone that they perceive as bad. That happened to me as well during my cancellation bullshit, and thankfully it wasn't like anyone in any position of actual power. I might have had to get more lawyer time if that was the case, but it was all these like failed journalist wannabes writing shit on like their Substacks or their Ko-Fis, being like, well, Kirsche might have been harassed and chased from her home, but that's actually her fault for saying things that I didn't like. And it's like, that's fucking wild, brother. That's insane. So this is Dr. Stacey Patton, Research Associate Professor, Institute for Urban Research at Morgan.edu here, Howard University. "Dear Jeff Metcalf, your son is dead because you failed to teach him that black boys have boundaries. You taught Austin what it meant to be a warrior. You taught him that toughness was honorable. You taught him that taking up space was normal. You taught him that confrontation was courage. You socialized Austin into entitlement long before he ever reached that track meet. You failed to teach your boy that black children have boundaries. You failed to teach humility, restraint, or the sacred fact that another person's body is not your jurisdiction." What the fuck? You failed to teach him that another child's space is not a challenge to be conquered. You failed to teach him that community does not mean white boys get to decide who belongs and who does not. Well, under his own tent at his own school, yeah, that actually is his decision to make, especially after we heard the coach tell him that he's going to be the one in charge of the tent. But that principle cannot begin and end with Karmelo Anthony. If we're gonna talk about choices and consequences, then we have to talk about all of them. We have to talk about Austin's choice to approach and confront, his choice to touch, his choice to believe that another person's space was his to control, his choice to ignore a warning, his choice to participate in a long cultural tradition of policing black bodies and space. Didn't John Derbyshire write something very similar to this and that then get branded as like giga ultra racist and lose his entire life? Am I taking crazy pills? My goodness, do we avoid black people or do we include black people? I don't know what they're advocating for anymore, man. It's crazy. This is somebody else saying, "This case is really affecting me, making me want to go to law school and fight for my people." I don't know who this person is, but it is referring to Karmelo Anthony. Once again, thinking that you should just be able to murder a white boy and get away with it. Kind of crazy. Kind of fucking crazy. This person said, Karmelo Anthony, a black teenager, has been sentenced to 35 years in prison after being convicted by a jury with no black jurors. Whatever one believes about the verdict itself, we cannot ignore the larger truth that many Americans are wrestling with. Justice is still being administered through a system with a long history of racial disparity in sentencing and punishment. This requires more than reaction, it requires moral honesty about who is deemed dangerous, whose pain is centered, and how differently accountability has been applied in America. If we want justice worthy of its name, it cannot be shaped by race. She got community noted. Jury had no black jurors because qualified black prospects admitted bias, e.g. couldn't convict quote-unquote a brother, or were struck for race-neutral reasons, educators upheld by the judge. Conviction based on evidence, Anthony stabbed the victim in the chest as the aggressor. And Jeremy Kaufman had quote retweeted this saying, Martin Luther King's daughter, jurors need to be judged by the color of their skin, not the content of their character. Very, very strange way to go about this. Thank you, community note. Yeah, based community note, man. Showing reality. Meghan Metcalf just informed me that someone has obtained her home address and is now posting it publicly on Facebook in response to posts that she's made. If you see anyone sharing, posting, commenting, or distributing the Metcalf family's address or any other private information, please do the following immediately. Take screenshots that clearly show the post, comment, profile name, date, and time. Copy the direct link to the post or comment if possible. Report it to the platform and send the evidence directly to me or to the Metcalf family. And this is exactly what should be done every time you see doxing information on any platform, because it takes an incredibly long time to get any kind of, like, horrible information taken down. No family should have to worry about their personal address being circulated online simply because they're grieving the loss of their son. Here are some examples of what she's experiencing on her page. And it says, like, now coming on his mother's page to harass her after her son was killed by the person you're defending. This person said, fuck Hunter, fuck Austin, dead ass, and fuck you too. You right, we is gone free Karmelo, and he is lucky to be here. Trust, you not getting yours back. And you better hold Hunter close before he becomes the hunted. I genuinely cannot grasp what is wrong with the people who write this shit. Like, it is just fucking insane to me. Please think about the safety of you all. Lots of people are angry at Hunter, and the tension is so heated. Best believe they're gonna get what they deserve. And then a picture of, Austin bleeding saying, damn, he did warn me. Actually fucking crazy. Somehow, black people still see themselves as the victim. Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna be buying that victim narrative anymore, brother. Internet, do your thing, I'm tired. This is Donna Murray Robinson adding someone named Trenia Howard. You are exactly right. I am a parole supervisor at Texas DCJ. Karmelo will be okay. I can almost assure you, he will be protected on the inside. I, for one, don't give a fuck about the family's loss. It's about time these fucking bigots feel the pain that they have inflicted on other groups of people since the beginning of time. I'm just glad we didn't have to bury another black child. Let them start burying some of theirs for a change. Fuck them. I said what I said. Do you really want to get into that? Do you really want to start that argument? Do you really want to count the bodies that have been lost to black violence over the years? Do you really want to do that? Because I don't think you do. And libs of TikTok reposting saying, this woman claims to be on the board of pardons and parole in Texas. She allegedly posted this after Karmelo Anthony was found guilty. We reached out to the TDCJ, but they declined to respond. And she's posting this publicly on Facebook while she has her job listed as board of pardons and parole. This is how much privilege these people have been able to have. And when I say these people, I don't necessarily mean black people. I mean people on the left, right? Leftists have been able to espouse any amount of fucking violence with zero repercussions. They have not had to practice the same level of OPSEC that someone on the right making a joke about, haha, maybe we shouldn't let 1 million migrants come into the country. Things could get kind of bad. They haven't had to be like, okay, well, let's set up an anonymous account on a different computer than the one that I use for everyday things, behind a proxy having me set in like Azerbaijan with a different name and an anime profile pic. Leftists have not had to practice OPSEC because they've been allowed to be violent. Everyone has defended their violence. You think you're being mass off so consequences can find her easily? Yes, and thankfully, the era of them not having consequences seems to finally be fucking over. Update, she was fired. Sarah Fields with the shot and the chaser here. So obviously her talking about Karmelo Anthony and, you know, bury the white bodies, whatever. Hello, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice holds all employees to the highest standards of professionalism. TDCJ employment carries significant public trust and requires decisions free from personal bias. Following review of recent public statements by an individual identifying as a TDCJ parole supervisor, her employment has been terminated. And when this was happening in the video game sphere with people in positions attacking just regular gamers or whatever, Asmongold was like, yeah, you should get these people fired, because this is ridiculous. You should get these people fired when they celebrate assassinations. And then all the leftists tried to screech and be like, I thought you were against cancel culture. Why are you being a hypocrite? You're supposed to be against it, but now you're doing the same thing. Do not listen to their fake tears. They are just upset you are using their tactics against them. Fuck them. They started this. We have met them where they wanted to be. These statements are incompatible with the TDCJ policy and values. They demonstrate bias and a lack of impartiality essential to the fair administration of justice in Texas. Discriminatory or inflammatory conduct that erodes public confidence in the criminal justice system will not be tolerated. Based. It was the fuck-aroundest of times. I like that. That's funny. I thought this was AI at first, because I was like, there's no way that someone's actually posting this. But I guess a bunch of people have been saying it's AI, maybe as a defense. But it says, disturbing, a man posts himself peeing on Austin Metcalf's grave. What kind of person does this? I doubt he even personally knows Karmelo Anthony. Imagine being that upset over a guilty verdict for a man you don't even know. And Sarah Field saying, he has been identified and reported. If it was AI, there would probably be no way to identify and report someone. And down here, someone said, I think this isn't real. I own a funeral home and an average wait time for a headstone is 6 months, and the grass wouldn't be all grown already, and where are the other graves? It's been over a year since he passed, which is true. Grok, is this image real or AI? Modern AI images can virtually be indistinguishable from real photos by visual inspection alone. This one appears AI generated. The heavy blur on the stream, lighting, and composition show typical artifacts. The account posted it claiming it was them, but no credible news reports confirm any real desecration of Austin Metcalf's grave. The case has seen a lot of AI fakes and misinformation, likely fake, which I do find interesting because there's also this. A black man from North Carolina with a long criminal rap sheet named Tristan Darius Johnson posted a photo on social media of himself urinating on the grave of Austin Metcalf. And they bring up Tristown Darius Johnson child abuse misdemeanor, North Carolina. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I guess that's the guy in the photo. Did he actually go and physically do this? Or did he create an AI of himself doing it in order to, like, garner outrage? And I think people doing shit like this is going to cause some kind of, like, reactionary law about, like, AI usage for harassment and desecration of graves, which they've already done that for, like, non-consensual nudes, to my knowledge. Of course he's a sex offender. Yeah, of course. It's very interesting. So when I saw the tweets connecting it to, like, a real-life person, and then also Sarah Field saying that he's been identified and reported, I was like, okay, well, I guess there was a real guy doing some shit, regardless of whether the photo is AI or not. Just to clarify, it's a disturbing AI trend. Holy shit! What leads a person to do this, man? What leads an individual to, like, AI generate some shit like this? That's fucking wild. Your fatigue is off the charts. Like, what the fuck? I'm trying to rack my brains if I ever saw, like, because it was before AI. So I'm trying to rack my brains and think if I ever saw anyone, like, pissing on fucking George Floyd. And I can't think of a single instance of that. Allow me to make something absolutely clear to all of you. Yes, I am angry. I'm independent. I'm not the mainstream media. That means I have more freedom in what I do. I'm beholden to no one. The mainstream media is careful. They're controlled. They stay safe. I do not. I have the freedom to report every fact I find, even when it makes people angry. During the Anthony case, I was able to expose bad actors because I put in the work. That means hours of investigating, collecting documentation, gathering information. It was also how I was able to warn people that witnesses were being doxxed and that the family was being threatened. Through all of this, I became friends with Jeff. Jeff is a father grieving a murdered son. He was dragged through the mud and muzzled, unable to speak. I spent hours with him on the phone, sometimes late into the night. He would vent, sometimes he would cry, but worst of all, none of his feelings could be publicly known. He was swatted 6 times. Meghan was also swatted. People can argue over the internet, but the reality is that sending armed police to someone's home repeatedly creates a dangerous situation for that family. Austin was called worm food. People have mocked a murdered child. Charleston White said he should have killed both of them. What the fuck? This disgusting rhetoric went on for a year while Jeff was unable to speak publicly or defend his dead son. This is why I told Jeff that when the gag order was lifted and the trial was over, I would give him an interview. Unlike the mainstream media, he would have the freedom to say whatever he wanted without interruption. He would not have had that freedom anywhere else. I could not care less what people think about that decision. I knew things would be clipped and taken out of context. They've been doing it since the beginning. That was never a surprise to me. And she's saying this because there were some people who were like, how could you do this interview with Jeff? Don't you know people would take it out of context and create more problems for him? But it's like, he deserves to speak, man. And I mean, if the fucking CRT got to him and that's why he was giving out cucked-ass statements at the beginning, that makes sense. I don't wish that he had done that. I wish they had basically told him to fuck off. But that's also deranged that he has to be muzzled for the duration of the trial. How come the murderer's family is able to say all this shit and create all these lies and form all this confusion, but the father of the slain child is unable to say anything? Like, that seems incredibly fucked up. This interview was for Jeff. It was not for them. It was not for you. It was to allow Jeff to finally get every ounce of anger, sadness, grief, rage, and pain off his chest. I'm glad that we did it. If you are angry at me for it, then you do not understand grief. If you're more angry because you think I should have controlled the interview more, then you do not understand the pain he has lived with for the past year. My goal was simple: give him the microphone, step back, and let him talk. Most people seem to understand that. Some do not. Many are angry that I gave Jeff the freedom and platform to express thoughts he has been forced to keep buried for an entire year. And he's been forced to keep these thoughts buried for an entire year while his family's been attacked, his son was already murdered, people are threatening to murder his other son, and the worst that he said was what? Watermelon felon? Come the fuck on. As for the clips being shared out of context, I want everyone to hear the full context. Yes, Jeff called Karmelo a watermelon felon. No, he did not say it because he's racist. He said it while sarcastically mocking the people who constantly clip words out of context and chase viral moments. They have spent a year calling him racist. His point was that if they wanted something to clip and spread around the internet, he'd give them exactly what they were looking for. That is the context, and I don't blame him. And they want to call him racist when he could have said so much fucking worse, but he made it a joke that rhymes. Come the fuck on. His son is murdered, and you're gonna get mad because, oh, he said watermelon. He said watermelon. What? He can't say that. Fuck off. If you're angry that I gave him a platform to say what he wanted, I truly do not care. I don't even know how to explain how much I do not care. I love the Metcalf family, I love Jeff, and this is what he wanted. For once, Jeff got to do what he wanted to do. He's the father of a dead son who spent a year being told to stay quiet while people lied about him, mocked his family, and celebrated his pain. I have gone through nowhere near the damage that Mr. Metcalf here has. I can only even imagine the depths of the mental damage done by the amount of lies and the heinousness of the lies told about him. When lies get repeated consistently, constantly, and people start believing those lies about you or about your family, yeah, it gets fucking obnoxious. Yeah, you get fucking tired of it. And the fact that his is magnitudes worse. Yeah, he can say fucking watermelon felon. I don't give a fuck, bro. Come on. Watermelon Felon, also an episode of Kirby Right Back At Ya, where Kirby eats a watermelon and gets accused of stealing it. What the fuck? These people, and use that term loosely, justified Jeff's response. If we view Mr. Metcalf as the cucked, just want to grill normie type, it's no longer glowing, his rage will soon be normalized. Yep. If he went from completely fucking cucked, absolutely Christ cucked out of his mind at the beginning of all this, can you imagine the levels of radicalization to bring him to this point to even say watermelon felon after a year? That's fucking crazy. I warned all of you how evil some of these people are. I've known it for the past year. The Metcalf family has lived it, and so have I. These people do not just threaten to kill you, they threaten to destroy you. They threaten your family. They're not above threatening children. She's completely right, and once again, those two fucking retards that were trying to argue with me on Twitter, being like, I would never wish harm on you. Oh my god, I was so distraught about Charlie Kirk. Oh! And then immediately, I think it was like Trailstorm or someone, like posted receipts of both of them mocking Charlie Kirk. All they do is lie. All they do is lie because they hope that more people will believe their lies and thus believe that you are the bad person while they smile as you're cut down in front of them. We already knew this. Now many of you are finally seeing it for yourselves, and if a few words from a grieving father are enough to outrage you, then you might want to grow a thicker skin.
I mean, this is all your personal choices. It's none of my business. I stay in my lane. Just don't come in my lane with your bullshit. I respect everyone until they disrespect me. I've been disrespected by so many people, so many times while I've had to sit here and take it. I'm gonna tell you right now, Charleston White, you think you're funny? We'll see who's laughing. Drew Anthony, you're a pussy and a coward, and you raised one.
True.
Kayla, you drunk bitch. What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My
True. Kayla is a drunk bitch name. He got that right.
God, what kind of mother are you? Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened. How many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You're supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk.
Yeah, pop off, Mr. Metcalf.
That's all you do. Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture.
Holy shit!
You people hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Let me make one up. Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you?
The Watermelon Felon.
I hope he enjoyed his first night in that cell last night. Because he's going to have
He
many
gonna get them
nights
Skittles
to think
from the
about what fuck
commissary,
he did.
man.
I forgave him so I don't carry the hate and the anger. So I don't get ate up like cancer and kills you from the inside. It's like me drinking poison and hoping it kills you. It doesn't work that way. You gotta let that stuff go or it will kill you. It will eat you up inside.
And I think that's a pretty fucking good response, man. I'm glad to see Metcalf unchained, buddy. Drew Anthony is now in the finding out phase. Drew Anthony saying, "People, we are under attack. All money will be refunded. We won't make another attempt without verification. Thank you in advance. Please be patient." And there's an email here that says, "Hi, Kayla. This is Maria from Spot Fund. I hope you're doing well. After careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to remove your fundraiser from our platform, as it falls outside of our acceptable use policy. Please know that this decision is not a reflection on the hardships your family may be experiencing. We understand that this is an incredibly difficult and emotional time. Any donations received through the campaign will be refunded to the respective donors in accordance with our policies. We recognize that this outcome may be disappointing, and we are truly sorry for any additional stress this may cause. We wish you the best moving forward. Thank you again for your understanding." Why are you obsessed with the family? They should sue you for harassment. It's getting excessive. She says, "It's really sad that you don't know what harassment is. I'm suing Drew, not the other way around." Oh god, I know how she feels, bro. Karmelo Anthony's mother and father on Thursday's CBS Mornings. "My son didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself. What stuck out to me, number one, was the all-white jury. Again, lie, it wasn't. But I was trying to be, like, all right, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the truth is on our side."
My son didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself.
It took less than...
You see, I would not be able to control myself. If I had a family member, much less a son, murdered by someone else's son, and I saw them, like, doing media tours, crying and being like, my son was innocent, he was defending himself, I'd be like, the level of racism that would come out of my mouth for this kind of, like, lying, race-baiting sympathy, man, I would just fucking combust in a ball of fire.
3 hours for a jury to reject 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony's claims of self-defense in the stabbing death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Prosecutors argued Anthony intentionally killed Metcalf after being taunted and shoved by Metcalf and his teammates at a high school track meet.
Take us inside that courtroom. What stuck out to you?
What stuck out to me, number one, was the all-white jury. But I was trying to be,
all white.
You know, like, all right, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the truth is on our side.
Jesus Christ. Karmelo Anthony's mother on what she told the jury to have mercy on my son.
The jury.
To have mercy on my son.
What do you say to his grieving family?
It's unfortunate to where nobody wins.
It's unfortunate to where nobody wins. Literally, there have been people who are like, yeah, Karmelo's still alive, fuck you. Like, what are we doing here?
Being hurt by this. Everybody.
No, your son is a murderer, not a sympathetic victim. CBS also spoke to Austin Metcalf's father.
Is fixing to experience a life that I would not wish upon anyone.
Austin Metcalf's father.
I think that's kind of, like, I understand what he's saying, right? The poor boy is fixing to experience a life I would not wish upon anyone. He's saying this because he assumes that Karmelo Anthony will have, like, the tortured mentality of having the knowledge that he killed someone for the rest of his life. I understand what Mr. Metcalf's saying. I don't think Karmelo Anthony is capable of that level of self-reflection. If he was, Austin Metcalf wouldn't be dead. He genuinely doesn't care. Yeah, he showed that at the trial.
Jeff called Anthony's sentencing bittersweet.
What it boils down to for me is this. Austin will never walk through that door again and never give me a hug.
The case drew national attention, prompting protests in support of both teens. And both families involved say they've received threats.
This morning, I've had multiple emails, texts, threatening me, calling me all sorts of names.
During the interview, Karmelo Anthony's parents even called one man back they say continues to dox them.
During our interview, the Anthonys made a point to call back one man they say continues to dox them.
Why you calling me, man?
To make fun of you.
What? What the f- I can't even tell what that was. They bleeped the whole thing. Austin Metcalf's father says, I forgave Karmelo Anthony, but you people need to understand forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for him, it was for me.
Both families urge supporters to tame their emotions.
I forgave him. But people need to understand about forgiveness. Forgiveness was not for him. Forgiveness was for me, so I don't carry the rage, the hate, and that around. It will eat me up like cancer.
At the end of the day, there's nothing we can say or do for people to accept it.
And this guy quote retweeted it and said, it's insane how it's just sort of accepted that having a black person on the jury is a get out of jail free card for black people. And then someone posted this saying, never in my life have I seen a white juror proudly explain that they let a white person get away with the murder of a black person because equity.
You think that they're members of the jury that voted to acquit OJ because of Rodney King?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
How many of you think felt that way?
Oh, probably 90% of us.
90%? Did you feel that way?
Yes.
That was payback.
Uh-huh.
You think that's right?
Doesn't care. Doesn't care what's right. Does not fucking matter. Your mind always goes back to the OJ case when you think of Karmelo. True. And then he quote retweeted himself and said, in a study on race and juror decision-making, participants evaluated on identical defendant whose name was either Bradley Schwartz or Jamal Gaines. Black respondents were significantly more likely to convict and more harshly sentence the white-named defendant, while white respondents showed no statistically significant bias in either direction. And you have the results for the guilty, not guilty outcome up here. White defendant, black defendant. Pretty close. It's also interesting that the white respondents are also seemingly, even if it's slightly, less likely to less likely to guilty the black defendant. That's very interesting. Black respondents, very large gap. Results for the mean sentence length outcome, again, the white respondents pretty close together, still more lenient on a black defender. Black respondents, far harsher on the white defendant, far more lenient on the black defendant. Defiant L's with a quote, so we'll play the video. Damn near half of the black people who could have been on the jury canceled themselves out. Don't do that. When you go up there, say, no, I've never heard about the case. I can be fair. Which is honestly probably how the O.J. Simpson jury got where they were.
Be fair. Don't say, no, I'm not finna put a black man in jail. Don't say that, okay? Because if that's what you're gonna say, you could have stayed home. You have to go and be like, no, I will hear the evidence. I can be fair. Don't say, I hate white people and I don't care what he did. Don't do that. That's what people...
So we know you hate white people. We know you're gonna get that black boy off, but don't say that. You have to lie to trick them white people so that you can get your brother off. Our systems were designed with high trust in mind. And to have high trust, you need to be able to operate whenever you encounter another person in your society. You need to have the blind faith that they will operate in good faith in contact with you. When you get the cluster of people, right? When the cluster of people willing to lie outnumbers those who are willing to operate in good faith, especially when enough of those people who operate in good faith have been fucked over by those who lie, you no longer have functioning structure. If your structure is built on trust and good faith, and you can no longer have that when you encounter your fellow citizens, your systems collapse. They no longer work. You cannot have any faith in them because they've been usurped by people willing to lie.
We're doing in this case, okay? And then everybody's like in an uproar because there's no black people on the jury when damn near half of the black people who could have been on the jury canceled themselves out. Yeah. Don't do that, okay? So don't do that. See, somebody in the comments talking about that's what got me put out. Don't do that. When you go up there, say, no, I have never heard about this case. I can be fair. Say that, okay? And then mean it. Believe it a little bit. Don't tell them you can't be impartial. You could have stayed home.
Because then you're going to be Srah, they say. You're going to be, I'm rooting for everybody black.
Yeah.
I would have to remember that because I would be in there like, I would almost be too eager. Oh, God. I would probably be too eager just to go flip mode. Do you? Yep, I do believe whatever you do.
They're going to kick you out.
You just said, I don't know who that person was that said that the other day. What I believe.
Why would you be so eager to get a murderer off after he murdered a white person unless you just hate white people based on the color of their skin? What is this just like unabashed racism on display? And like, again, they're allowed to display this racism. They don't have any repercussions for it. They don't get harassed. They don't get doxxed. They don't get driven from their homes. They don't lose their jobs. It's an insane double standard. And again, it's been baked in on purpose, as we've all been taught. You can't be racist to white people, which is just objectively not true in reality. And we can see the consequences of people repeating that.
This is a video of you saying, that wasn't me. I didn't say those things. I believe in the rule of law. I believe.
Imagine laughing at I believe in the rule of law. Imagine thinking that that is funny instead of it being a necessary, vital pillar of having a functioning, not just society, but country in general.
Ma'am, all we asked was, what was your first name?
Law and Order.
Go kick you.
My first name is Law and
gonna
Order.
be like, get her out of here.
My first name is Sustained.
Y'all be regular.
Overruled.
Just be regular.
Oh, God.
My
I
eye
would
is
be in there.
twitching.
They'd be like, just get her out of here because something might be wrong with her.
Y'all.
Something, just get, no. My first name is Guilty.
Listen, everybody else that be called, they be at the very least acting like they can be fair.
Yeah.
So don't go in there and act like all of a sudden you have to be the most honest person you've ever been. Listen, don't tell them I said that, but I'm just saying. People get on these juries and be
My sister's name
racist.
is I'm not a lawyer. So I think I am the lawyer.
No.
Between Law and Order and CSI, I grew up on those shows. And now
Jesus
my
Christ.
sister,
No.
let me tell you something. I could do your job, to be honest with you.
Well, don't go. Stay home. Please. You're ruining the point. Y'all are ruining the points.
Ma'am,
Then people on
go home.
The people on this case were doing that, and you see where we got.
Don't do it.
Literal insanity, by the way. And then this guy, literal Koklajin-sama, literal just black guy, saying, if this becomes a normal sentiment among black people, why would any other race consider us peers eligible to sit as jurors? To reiterate, why wouldn't this attitude, if prolific, necessarily disqualify black people from ever being considered impartial? Those who disqualified themselves were, at the very least, honest about their biases. If even that minimal amount of integrity is compromised, we would be rendered entirely incompatible with this nation in a way that most of us can't fathom. The quote-unquote all-white jury myth becoming the default standard is just one of the many natural consequences of this behavior. Rightly so, I'll add. And he's got a point. And I kind of said this the other day, where it's just like, you no longer have a jury of your peers. If you have people saying they're willing to lie to get on a jury in order to acquit someone of murder, even though they know he's guilty, based on the facts, right? Or if you have people like just willing to vote on a jury on racial lines, regardless of what their race is, if they're just like, I'll vote whatever gets my racial brethren free, you no longer have a functioning justice system. You do not have a trial by your peers. It is no longer better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. It's no longer possible. Sarah Fields quoting this video saying, I'm sending them back. Way to admit I, Sarah Fields, was right the entire time. Who else did the Anthonys pay to spread their lies about the Metcalfs? Pretty sad if Charleston White was paid to spread defamatory comments. I've already sued him, and he's been found liable for saying what he did about me. Did Drew pay him to do this? This is much deeper than anyone truly knows. I'm still in the process of my legal fight. We still have a fight with Tiffany Billions and Drew Anthony for anyone asking. Documentation shows that Drew was in direct contact with both of these people when they called me a meth head, a prostitute, and accused me of obtaining documents illegally when reporting on the case. Thank you to everyone who's donated so far in my fight against these people. And here is the video here. It's just a short one.
Karmelo Anthony case, I ain't putting no goddamn money toward that boy. His daddy too goddamn weak for me. I don't like a weak. Dad ain't willing to die, kill, or go to jail for nothing. That nigga just wants some bills paid. Karmelo, my heart go out to you if you ever see this video one day. I'd rather stand with the Jeff Metcalf than I would with Karmelo's daddy. It's weak, Doxxed, and conservative. I ain't standing with no weak-ass black man. I'm off the case. I'm sending the money back. Go get them weak-ass Benjamin Crump there. I'm out.
What the fuck? It is very interesting that he says he's sending the money back. So that does, like Sarah Field said, bring into question, was Karmelo Anthony's father paying other people to spread lies about the case?